Hello guys and welcome to my Salamangreat Harkins deck profile. I'd like to apologize for the camera quality, it's really not the best, so I'm quite sorry, but let's get started. So just a quick disclaimer before we start. This deck is a bit weirder, but it's fairly budget compared to Salamangreat Snake Eyes, which is probably the best version of Salamangreat right now. While even just playing the normal engine is fine, playing Code of Soul and Pyro Phoenix is quite a good option. It's quite devastating when it comes to breaking an opponent's entire board, so if you want you can just play Salamangreat with Pyro Phoenix and Code of Soul. I personally like the Farkings because it's a bit more consistent when it comes to board breaking, and it adapts to different situations a bit better, and it also spams a lot of high attack monsters. The Pyro Phoenix version just kind of relies on Pyro Phoenix destroying everything and winning like that, which I'm personally not that big of a fan of. So yeah, let's get started. And you're gonna see some weird stuff, but don't worry, I'll explain everything. Let's start with the Farking engine. I'm playing the Wangarunix. I'm playing him at 1 because he's searchable, and he's a brick in the hand most of the time, so it's best to play him at 1. This deck is also 45 cards, so cutting it as much as possible is great. I'm playing the 2 Farking Kirin. He's very good when it comes to breaking boards and spamming bodies, and he's awesome to have in your hand. Easy to recycle with Sunlight Wolf too, so yeah, that's great. And he also helps you dodge Imperm, which is really nice. I'm playing him at 2 instead of 3 just because you really don't need him past turn 2. And yeah, that's why playing him at 2 is quite good. Then I'm playing the 1 Farking Avatar Kirin. So he's a very important combo piece of the deck. When he's destroyed, he can foolish 1 fire from the deck to the graveyard, and that's what mostly enables the Farking engine to work with Salamangreats. You don't really want to draw him, and he's searchable, so yeah, that's why he's played at 1. Then I'm playing the 2 legendary Farking Ponyx. Playing him at 3 is not necessary, and in fact, you're only gonna normal summon him if you've bricked. But yeah, he floats into the engine pretty well. He goes to Salamangreat, he searches you, Farking Sanctuary, he's great as whole, but you don't need more than 2 copies of him. You can probably even cut him to 1, since most of the time you won't even use him, but he's still good to have. And I think that's it for the Farking engine that I'm playing when it comes to monsters. Now let's get started with the main part of the deck, the Salamangreats. Started off, I'm playing 3 copies of Salamangreat Gazelle, by far the best card in the deck. It's really nice to have her in your hand. Even if you don't, you have other searchers. But yeah, she's your most important piece of utility in the hand. And if you ever need to dodge Imperm, you've got your trusty Kirin to help you with that. While she is very useful because she's a level 3 and you obviously want to go into Mirage Stalio, if she dumps Spinny and you have to strike her with Kirin to dodge Imperm, that's still fine. You can just go into Lynx. You don't always need to go into the Mirage Stalio, but it's good to go in there, to that line. Then I'm playing 2 copies of Salamangreat Spinny. I did play Spinny at 3 at one point, but she's not really that useful as a 3-off in the deck. She's much better when she's at 2. It reduces bricks, it opens up more space in your deck, and she's searchable, so that's also nice. Having her in your hand is definitely a plus, but if you don't have Gazelle or another combo starter, she's useless in the hand. Let's continue. I'm just going to move this. So I'm playing the one copy of Jaguar, one copy of Foxy, one copy of Weasel, pretty standard for now, one copy of Salamangreat of Fire. This card is great, but you're only gonna use it if you for desperate situations. Locking you into fire, the fact that it locks you into fire is not that great, but so it's nice. You can even play if you're locked into fire, you still got nice combos, and it searches you Weasel, so that's also fine. And another great searcher for Salamangreat of Fire is Salamangreat Maw. So I was thinking about cutting this card from the deck, but the utility that it serves is pretty nice, especially if you draw Weasel, because then Fire won't really have a lot of searchers. And drawing Maw as a whole is nice. Also, it also gives you a second chance to, if you have a bad draw and your board has been broken. So yeah, that's why I'm playing it. That's it for the Salamangreat monsters. Now I also play one copy of Code of Soul. Code of Soul is great. It's a great card. Even if you don't play Pyro Phoenix, it's good to have it in your deck. It's another normal summon. It's searchable through Signet Mining and Horse Prints. And it gives you a second Reincarnate summon. It's just everything that you can ask from a card. It's a level 3, it's a non-tuner. And it also has the second effect, which we don't really use in this deck. Just good to have. Now this is where the deck gets a bit weird, because we'll be playing 3 copies of Dotscaper. So by far you're all probably scratching your heads as to why I'm playing Dotscaper, but I'll show you the deck's main combo and how Dotscaper is just really great in this deck. I personally prefer him instead of Lady Debug, because Lady Debug could be very bad. She eats up your normal summon, and if she gets impermed and you don't have Gazelle in your hand or Spinny, it's just over from there and you barely have anything that you can do. That's why I personally like these cards. The Dotscaper is just very versatile. It lets you chain block, and it also is just a great card to have. It's level 1. And it also just gives you a lot of Cyber's bodies. Playing Lady Debug can be justified if you have Parallel Exceed. Another reason why I'm playing the Dotscaper is just because it was very hard for me to find any copies of Parallel Exceed where I live, and I really don't want to order them from Card Market. So yeah, I'm playing 3 Dotscapers. And now for the monster hand traps that we've got, I'm playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and 3 copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. This deck really doesn't have a lot of space for non-engine, but you can safely play 9 hand traps. I think that you can most definitely cut some cards to make space for some other hand traps at 2. You can probably cut Dotscaper and play, or the Maw. You can probably cut Dotscaper and the Maw to play 2 Veilers too, or 2 Nib. But yeah, I still find the deck to be best like this. It's likely that you open with at least 1 hand trap, so that's perfectly fine. And especially against Tempai, I'm playing Ghost Ogre because it's very good against Tempai. Breaking their field spell is very important, and this card is just very good at doing that. Now let's move on to the spells. For the Farking spells, we have 1 copy of Farking Island and 1 copy of Farking Sanctuary. Both are searchable through Ponyx, and even if you open with 1 of them, that's still fine. Now for the more Salamangreat spells, I'm playing 3 copies of Signet Mining. This card is a must. You must play the 3. Even though it's not directly a Salamangreat spell, it's still really good. The fact that it has cost 2 is nice, because you can special Gazelle from it, even if it gets ashed. And yeah, it could be devastating to have it in your hand and rig, but also if you have like 2 copies of the same card, you can just discard 1 copy and search for another Cyberse. Then for the Duo Salamangreat spells, we have 3 copies of Salamangreat Circle. This card is insane. You almost always play it in your draw phase to just search a salad, most likely Gazelle or a Spinny. It's just a super amazing card. 1 copy of Will of the Salamangreat. Another great extender. If you draw it, it's fine, because it lets you get through more hand traps. Also, if you search it with Raging Phoenix, you can use its second effect to summon 4 monsters from your graveyard or hand, replaying 1 copy of Salamangreat Sanctuary. You can probably run 2 of those, since people do get rid of it, but you can also just use Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf to get it from your graveyard, which is still fine, but if it's banished, it's usually a problem. But that's still fine, because you've got Code of Soul, and you also don't really need it to reincarnate summon, because getting to a reincarnated Raging Phoenix is really easy. So, okay, let's move on. 2 of the most important spells in this deck are Salamangreat Charge and Fire Recovery. They're great for extending your combos while also letting you recycle materials. Many decks like Branded, for example, are very good at banishing your cards. If you get hit with a Mirror Jade, you can just use one of these cards to return your banished cards. It's just a must play in the deck. Both are one-offs, but you often run into them and you often use them. Now for the non-engine spells, we're playing the 1 Gold Sarcophagus and the 1 Called by the Grave. Gold Sarcophagus is mostly in here because of the Dotscaper, since if you banish the Dotscaper, it will just come back. If you don't open with Dotscaper but have the Gold Sarc, that's just another free body on your field, and it's just generally nice to have it. Obviously, I don't have to explain why we're playing Called by. Let's move on to the traps. We're playing 1 copy of Salamangreat Roar, 1 copy of Salamangreat Rage, and 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. So these are the rest of your hand traps. You can't cut those. Those are needed. Some people cut Rage from their decks, but I personally find it as a needed tool in your main deck. Playing it in your side is generally not that great. I think that those cards, both of these cards at 1 copy, is perfectly fine. They're both searchable, and Gazelle can always dump Salamangreat Roar into the graveyard, which is also nice since it comes back once you reincarnate summon. And now we can move on to the extra deck. As you guys probably saw, the main deck is 45 cards, which is still okay, I think. Even if it's not 40, it's nice. I'm playing the 1 copy of Salamangreat on Rush. If you have to normal summon ponies, this is a great way to access the Salamangreat engine, and since it counts as a Salamangreat monster, which many people forget, it's just great for your spinnies. It's great for Gazelle too, since if you send it to the graveyard, you can special Gazelle, and it's also just another body that can be brought back with will. It protects your monsters, it tributes itself, so it sends itself to the graveyard, which is another way to summon Gazelle, and it's just a great card. I'm playing 2 copies of Salamangreat Bailings. Many decks play those at 3, but I think that it's perfectly fine to play them at 2, since the game will most likely end on turn 3. If you do find yourself in a situation where you're playing the grind game against your opponent, it's nice to have 3 copies, but I rarely find myself in one of those, and usually my board is strong enough to go through it even without the 2 Bailingses. Their most important effect is that they protect, and yeah. You can also just recycle them with Salamangreat Charge and Fire Recovery, which just adds more copies of it to your extra deck. Then we're playing the 2 Sunlight Wolves. You don't need discard at 3. Playing it at 2 is perfectly fine. It recycles your spells, it recycles Kirin, Ash Blossom, and Gazelle back to your hand. It's a perfect card to have in your deck at 2 copies. I'm playing the 1 Hita, the Fire Charmer. She just lets you go into Princess. It's a great card, not really that good against Branded, so you can probably side her out for something else. But generally, any deck that runs Ash is going to get hit with a Hita. Let's move on. I'm playing 1 copy of Cyber's Wicked. This card is very important for the combo of this deck. Its ability to search you any Cyber's tuner is great because you're going to be searching Weasel off of it. And most Salamangreat decks don't often go into Wicked, but getting Weasel through it in our combo is very important. So I'm going to show you the combo later and do a test hand, but you'll see how Cyber's Wicked is a very important part of this deck. Then I'm playing the 1 Promethean Princess. You don't really need this card at 2, even if it gets banished, Cold Bite. You can still get it out because, of course, you've got the Salamangreat Charge and the Fire Recovery. Both are great. I'm playing 1 copy of World Sea Dragon Zelantis. Zelantis is great because he's a budget alternative for SP. Obviously, SP is too much. It's expensive. It's very hard to get, and also Zelantis is just really good at floating into your board, I guess, from any rank 4 that you're playing. Most likely Raging Phoenix, and he also allows the princess to use her effect, which is great. And his board breaking potential is insane. This card is a must-have in your deck. Our other Link Force include the 1 Ambly Whale. Many people don't like this card, but I personally like its effect to destroy 1 card on the field. Destroying level 2, Link 3 or lower monsters is really easy, so it's just a very great card to have. Then I'm playing the 2 Salamangreat Raging Phoenixes. You don't need this card at 3. 2 is perfectly fine, and it's not the cheapest card at the moment, so playing it at 2 is a great way to stay on budget while also having a very functional deck. And for our last Link 4, I'm playing the 1 Appaloosa, Bow of the Goddess. She's not really that useful when you lock yourself into fire, but the deck's main goal is not to do so. She's a great part of your end board, she's very annoying to deal with. And yeah, she's just very good against a lot of decks in the current meta. For our synchros, we are playing the 1 Brotherhood of the Fast Horse Prince. It's very easy to get out. It's just a great searcher, and it also just allows us to enter our Farking engine. That's why it's a great card to have, and it really doesn't take that much from our extra deck. And finally, the last card in our extra deck is the one Salamangreat Mirage Talio. By far the best card in our extra deck. It's really easy to make, it just spams bodies on your field. Super great card, it bounces cards back to the hand, easily clears boards. By doing so, it gets you out of trouble. Amazing card. Now I'll also just show you my side deck really quickly. This can obviously differ depending on what you like, but I have found that this works best for me. And for our links, we have the one Underworld Goddess. She's very good at clearing big targets like Chaos Angel, also any Pearly card. She's good to have because even if you don't draw a Kaiju, she's always going to be in your extra deck, and you can always remove the Hita if you're playing against a deck that doesn't have any fire targets. I'm also playing the one Link Spider, mostly to deal with Nib. I couldn't find the place for it in the main deck, in my main extra deck, so I have just put it in my side deck in case I wanna play it. Hand traps that we have here are 3 Nibs. Nibiru is okay, I guess. Some decks can easily go through him, but he's still a good card. I'm playing the 3 Dogorans. It's a fire kaiju. It's just very good to have. It deals with a lot of annoying stuff like Mirror Jade, other stuff like the Pearly cards. If your opponent sets up Zeus, you can also just use Dogoran. It's a great card. I'm playing the 3 Cosmic Cyclones. The main problem with this deck is that it has a tough time clearing back row. So playing back row removal is great. Cosmic Cyclone also doesn't destroy, it vanishes. So that's another plus. I'm playing the 2 Lightning Storms. Lightning Storm is amazing if you're going second. And it also just clears the board. It can clear both spells and traps, while also being able to Raigeki the board. And finally, I'm playing the 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster. Amazing card to have in the deck. It's super good at clearing back row, and it also just does what it has to do. And finally, you can change whatever you want in this side deck. It's just that this is what I found works best for me. But the side deck doesn't really matter. You can make it fit your own preferences, anything that you want. That goes for the main deck too. If you don't like something, you can just change it and you'll have almost 0 problems. For my last card in my side deck, I'm playing 1 copy of Snatch Steel. I used to play Kurikara, but Kurikara is very hard to come by. You can't search her, and you just have to draw her. So if you're gonna expect to draw something, I think that Snatch Steel is much better because it gives you another body on the field, while also clearing the troublesome targets that your opponent may have. It's currently limited at 1, but with the reprint that it got, it's quite nice. Now let's see how this deck works. For the combo that I'll show you, you'll need 1 copy of Dotscaper and 1 copy of Salamangreat Gazelle. These guys are full combo. This hand can be amazing because even this hand is amazing. If you draw them, that's nice. But you can also just search one with Salamangreat Circle or Signet Mining. It's not that hard to come by them, and they just set up an entire amazing board that I think is a must-have. So another way to make your hand even better is to get a spinny in there, but that does not matter. Even these two cards alone are a perfect combo. So let me show you how this works. You normal summon the Dotscaper, and from there you link it into a Baylings. Here you say you chain Baylings as chain 1 and Dotscaper as chain 2. When it's sent to the graveyard, it can special summon itself. You bring it back, and then you search your Salamangreat Sanctuary. From here, you want to go into Cyber's Wicked by using these two monsters. Let me just do this. This will trigger the Gazelle in your hand since Baylings was sent to the graveyard. Make sure to special the Gazelle in the zone where Wicked points to. And here you'll say chaining one Gazelle, chaining to Cyber's Wicked, banishing the Dotscaper, Wicked will search you Salamangreat Weasel, and Gazelle will dump the Spinny. You have the Sanctuary in your hand and Weasel in your hand. And this is your 5th summon, so even if your opponent nibs you here, let's say that he nibs you here and you place a token, you can just say Weasel effect, and since you have 2 or more Salamangreat monsters in your grave, and then you go for Spinny, and that's full combo. But let's say that your opponent does not nib you here. Let's say that they don't have nib. You've got this board with Weasel in your hand and Spinny in your graveyard. You say Spinny effect to special summon herself, and then you go into Mirage Stalio. You detach the Gazelle. It's important that you detach Gazelle here. And Mirage Stalio will special summon Salamangreat Jaguar from your deck. Let me just put this back a bit so that you can see the Wicked. Here you want to link your Jaguar into a second Baylings. Having 2 copies in the grave is always nice. You link the Wicked and the Baylings into a Princess. And you use Princess's effect to bring back the Gazelle. From here you use Salamangreat Weasel to special summon itself because you have 2 or more Salamangreat monsters in your graveyard. And from here you want to synchro summon using the Gazelle and Weasel into a Horse Prince and use his on summon effect to bring out the funny little baby kitten. You link the Stalio and Princess away into a Paging Phoenix. Then you activate Salamangreat Sanctuary to reincarnate the Raging, and you chain Raging as chaining 1 to search your Salamangreat card, and then you chain Weasel from your graveyard. What he can do is that he can special summon a Salamangreat monster from your graveyard to the opponent's field. he puts himself on the bottom of the deck and you draw one card. We're mainly doing this so that we can trigger Princess, but also the card draw is very nice. You make sure to special summon Spinny. Special summoning Gazelle or Salamangreat Bailings could be troublesome in a mirror match. Let's just say that this Spinny right here is on the opponent's field. The Weasel puts himself on the bottom of the deck and we draw one. From here you search your Salamangreat Roar, or depending on your hand you search any trap with the Raging Phoenix. And you now trigger Princess on resolution, popping the Baby Kirin and the Salamangreat Spinny. Now you activate the effect of Baby Kirin to send your Brunix to the graveyard. And now you link summon into Amp the Whale using the Princess and the Horse Rider. Alternatively of Roar, you can also get Will of the Salamangreat instead. If you don't get Roar, from here you want to activate Will of the Salamangreat and use its second effect targeting the Raging to special summon a Spinny, Gazelle, Jaguar, and probably another card from your graveyard. But yeah, if you most likely have another monster here, since you also have 4 more cards on top of what you've already done with this combo. And once you do that, you can go into Appaloosa. The Mirage Stalio, you can also summon it, since it can go in defense. And from here, you go into an Appaloosa for 4 materials. And to top it all off, the final step of this combo will be to special summon Jaguar by returning Mirage Stalio to the extra deck. This should be your final board. You have a Jaguar, an Amp the Whale, an Appaloosa at 4, and a Salamangreat Raging Phoenix. Alternatively, you can have the Jaguar, the Amp the Whale, the Raging Phoenix, and a set Roar. And you still have at least 4 cards in your hand. You've got also the Princess and Brunix into the graveyard with a good target for Kirin. So everything is fine from here. Now let's do a test hand and see what this deck can really do. Okay, let's see how it goes. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just look at that. That's the perfect hand that you can get, and I'll show you why. We'll start off by activating Signet Mining and sending the Spinny as cost. Not only does this bait Ash, but it can also fetch you Code of Soul. From here, we won't activate Gazelle's effect. We'll instead normal summon the Dotscaper, and we'll go over the combo one more time. We'll link summon into Bailings, chain 1 Bailings, chain to the Dotscaper. Bailings, that stops people from ashing you, which is really nice. We'll search for Salamangreat Sanctuary, adding it to our hand. Now we will link summon into Sideburst Wicked using these two monsters, which will allow us to activate Gazelle's effect, special summoning her under the Wicked. Now we will chain Gazelle as 1 and Wicked as 2, banishing the Dotscaper. This will get us Salamangreat Weasel, and we'll also dump a Salamangreat Roar to the graveyard with Gazelle, since we already have Spin there. Now we can use the effect of Spinny to special summon herself, and which allows us to go into Mirage Stalio. Now we'll use Mirage Stalio's effect, discarding the Gazelle, to special summon our one and only Jaguar. You know the drill. Let's link him into a second Bailings. And now let's link the new Bailings and the Sideburst Wicked into a Promethean Princess. Let's use the Promethean Princess's effect to bring back the Gazelle. And here we'll use Weasel's effect, allowing us to now synchro summon into the Brotherhood of the Firefist Horse Prince, who will in turn bring out the baby Kirin. We will link summon using the Princess and the Mirage Stalio into a Salamangreat Raging Phoenix, which will now allow us to activate the effect of Weasel. I'm activating Weasel just because we'll be safe from getting gashed because of the Roar when we reincarnate the Raging Phoenix, so it's perfectly fine to activate Weasel now. We'll put this Spinny on our opponent's field, shuffle our deck, place the Weasel on the bottom, and we'll draw 1. Let's see what we get. Would you look at that? We got a Kirin. That's perfect. Now we will use the effect of Promethean Princess, destroying the baby Kirin and the Spinny, special summon her, activating the effect of baby Kirin to send Grunix to our graveyard. Here we'll activate the effect of Salamangreat Sanctuary, allowing us to go into a second Raging Phoenix, who will then use his effect to search, and then we'll chain the Salamangreat Roar to place itself. Raging Phoenix will fetch us the Will of the Salamangreat. And would you look at that, we still have 4 cards in our hand. Isn't that great, guys? Now we will link summon the Princess and the Horse Prince into an Amped Whale. And we'll activate Will of the Salamangreat here, allowing us to use its second effect to send it to the graveyard and special summon 4 bodies. So we special summon the Spinny, the Rastalio, the Gazelle, and the Jaguar. Since we have Code of Soul in our hand, we'll do this a bit differently. What we'll do instead is that we'll link summon the Stalio and Spinny into a Sunlight Wolf, and now we'll link summon the Sunlight Wolf into a second Sunlight Wolf by using the Jaguar and the... Wait, actually no, we won't be doing that since we actually have Code of Soul. So what we can do instead is that we'll just special summon Code of Soul from our hand and activate its effect, which allows us to reincarnate summon once more this turn, and we'll just reincarnate summon the Sunlight Wolf. Now we'll use Sunlight Wolf's effect to give us back the wheel of the Salamangreat, and we will activate it once more. And now for the final step of our process, we'll just use everything other than the Whale and Raging Phoenix to make ourselves an Appaloosa with 4, and then we'll use the effect of Jaguar to bring back the Stalio in our extra deck and special summon him to our field. And this is the board, guys. As you can see, we still have 2 cards in our hand, and we're basically set up for life. Nothing can... If our opponent tries to do something, we can always shoot him down with the roar. It doesn't matter if it gets banished. We have 4 monster negates here. We have 2 disruptions here, the Grunix and the Promethean Princess. And on top of that, we have the Whale, which if we destroy, it will bring back one of the wolves to then break, which then we can then destroy with Kirin to break yet another card. That's it, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next deck profile if I make one. Thank you for watching.